Hello, everyone. I'm Shahram Surudi. I'm the senior analyst at OC Auto Consultants. OC Auto Consultants is a consulting and market research firm in the automotive field. Our main function is research. We gather all the technical information, all the technical specifications, and the results of all technical tests that are done on the 400 distinct models of automobiles in the U.S. market. We also try to physically get to the dealerships and test drive cars. I personally try to test drive between 20 to 25 cars per month just to touch the vehicles and get a hands-on feeling about these vehicles. We work in all 50 states. Anywhere you're located in the United States, any major city, you could contact us via the telephone number 949-677-3835 or through our website. Our website is www.ocautoconsult.com. Please save the link on this website, pass it on to your friends, family, and acquaintances. Like I said, we work in all states. This is unprecedented. You've never had a central point where you could contact from anywhere in the United States to get assistance in selecting the best vehicle at the best price. I already mentioned the website. If you go on our website, if you go under fees and policies, you could already see what our fees are. We do charge a consulting fee to perform our analysis, basically. The fundamental reason that we established this company is that traditionally we have gone to the dealership to either gather information or test drive cars or purchase or lease a vehicle. And there's always been this conflict of interest between the salesperson and you as a buyer. The dealership's interest and the salesperson's interest is to sell the brand that they carry. Your interest is to purchase or lease the vehicle that's most suitable for your needs and your driving style and the types of roads you drive on. Again, their interest, the dealership's interest, is to sell the vehicle at maximum possible profit. Your interest is to obtain or purchase or lease that vehicle at the minimum possible profit. That means at maximum discount. So there's always been this conflict of interest, which justifies having a consulting company whose sole purpose is protecting your interest. We have no financial relationship to the dealers. We don't get anything from the dealers or from the manufacturers. We receive 100% of our consulting fee from the client. So that gives us the freedom and latitude to protect your interests 100%. And again, the idea here is that in life we use specialists and professionals for a lot of different matters. For your taxes, you use your personal or family tax accountant. For your medical needs, you go to your family doctor. For your legal needs, you go to your attorney. And you have never had this luxury of having a consultant that could assist you in selecting an automobile or getting the lowest price. And now we're giving you that opportunity and that luxury. When you call us for the first time, through that phone number that you see, we need about 10-15 minutes of your time. Our most important part of our consulting is to obtain some information from you to evaluate your needs, the types of roads you drive on, and your usage of the vehicle. The types of roads make a huge difference. Whether you drive high speed on the open freeway or highway, or let's say you drive on secondary roads with traffic lights, or you drive on very curvy roads with sharp, mountainous curvy roads with short curves, or you drive on slick roads, covered with rain, snow, or ice, makes a huge difference in the selection of the vehicle. So it's very important that we get those information from you. Your driving experience makes a big difference. The vehicle that's most suitable for you might not be the most suitable for your 21-year-old daughter, might not be the most suitable for your 75-year-old father, might not be the most suitable for your wife with 2 little kids. So very important that we evaluate driving experience, the types of roads, and your driving style. Very, very important. Once we gather this information, our software, Interactive Automobile Matchmaker, does its magic here. What it does is it aligns all the strength of these 400 vehicles. You know, we have the technical specifications on all these 400 vehicles. It would align all the strength with your top priorities, and it systematically and technically eliminates these 400 distinct models down to 4 or 5. And once we are down to those 4 or 5, we know from a technical standpoint, all those vehicles are equivalent from a technical standpoint. They're all most suitable for your needs and your driving style and the types of roads you drive on. Then our financial analysis starts. Financial analysis, we use a lot of financial tools. Very, very important. We start with the method of transaction. There are different methods of transaction that have to be evaluated. You could do cash purchase or financing. You could do lease with the intention to return the vehicle at lease end. You could do lease with the intention of purchasing the vehicle at lease end. Or in certain cases, you could certify pre-owned vehicles, you know, like a 3 or 4 year old vehicle with 40, 50,000 miles, and it's certified through the manufacturer, do make sense. And those are the cases where if you, let's say, you take a 4-year-old car and you finance it at 48 months, you know, the monthly payments, if they're significantly lower than, let's say, leasing a brand new car, then those certified pre-owned vehicles make sense. Not a lot of times they don't, but in certain cases they do. Once the method of transaction is determined, we move to the next step of the financial analysis, and that is evaluating the factory or manufacturer incentives, the factory specials. And those vary. It could be cash, it could be marketing support, which is the cash that goes directly from the manufacturer to the dealer. It could be low interest financing, or in some cases it could be lease specials where there's a subsidized lease where they reduce the interest, the money factor on the lease to reduce the monthly payments, or they give you cash up front to help you with the down payment. And sometimes they also manipulate the residual. They keep the residuals high to keep the monthly payments low. And as long as the monthly payments are low and you're not planning to purchase the vehicle at lease end, those particular ones make sense. So we evaluate all of those, and once we're done with this financial analysis, we're down to 1 or 2 vehicles. After those 4 or 5 vehicles that technically were equal, now are down to 1 or 2, and these 1 or 2 are the best of both worlds, basically. They're both technically and financially the best models amongst the 400 models for you. And so that whole process of customization is done. It's like the equivalent of, you know, let's say you go to a town, you want to purchase a house. There are 300, 400 houses that are available that you could look at, or you could go, you know, buy an open land and empty land and get your architect, get your engineer, get your builder, and custom build the house for you. Once we eliminate those 400 models down to 1 or 2, that is the equivalent of having a custom built home. That vehicle is that good of a match for your needs and your driving style. So what happens here is we move to the next step. The color. Once we're down to basically one model, then you look at the color. Color is mostly the matter of personal taste. Options need to be discussed. Some of them are safety options that might be worth the money. They might have value in them, meaning that you do get a return for your money. Some options, you got sunroof, you got leather, you got some options that are luxury options that we'll discuss with you and see if they make sense for you, if there is enough value in them. Once the vehicle is complete, at that point the vehicle is completely customized. The color is the make and model is determined, the color is determined, the options are determined. We move to the next step, and that is finding the car. Like I said before, we work everywhere in all 50 states, all the major cities. So somewhere maximum, let's say a radius of 50, 60 miles. We'll find that vehicle. We work with select dealerships. Most of these dealerships We don't work with all the new car franchises. We have handpicked a select number of them. They have very exclusive characteristics that I'm going to describe to you. First of all, they work on a volume model very similar to the Costco business model. In other words, they sell a large number of units, but they sell them at lower per vehicle profit. So they're willing to make less profit per car, but sell at high volumes. So that makes it possible for them to offer us the absolute lowest market price for that vehicle, whether it's a lease or purchase or whatever. They give you 5-star service, all the traditional gamesmanship where you go and the numbers change, the down payment changes, the color, you walk in, you want a white car, you walk out with a yellow car. You want leather and navigation, you walk out without those. All those games are over. If you enjoy those games, please do not contact us because you waste your time and our time. When it comes to those traditional games, we are on a zero tolerance policy. That's a fundamental premise behind this company. The underlying reason that we established this company is to get rid of that. We want to move this process transform it into 21st century. And the only way we do it is 100% professional. So this is going to be done in a purely professional manner. Sometimes, if they don't have the exact color or the option combination that you're looking for, they will get it for you. Once you leave a deposit, they will get it for you. They give us service. We're sending them a lot of clients, so they give OC Auto Consultants and our clients service. So, like I said, everything, all the numbers are all set. Numbers will not change. We'll email you with all that information so you have it in writing. The name of the dealership, how much that is the down payment, how much is the monthly payment, how much is the tax, all the details, all the specifications on the car, the options on the vehicle. Once you receive the email, you will also have the name and the telephone number of that sales manager at that dealership that you're going to be dealing with. Please contact. Once you receive that, please either make it to the dealership within 48 hours so you don't miss on that incentive. Remember, those specials, those discounts that we get you are time sensitive. The discount that I get you today, a week later might not be there. So time is of essence here. Be very careful with this because it's a very time-sensitive business and process. If you cannot make it to the dealership within 48 hours, what you need to do is call that sales manager. They'll take a refundable deposit of $500 on your credit card. And like I said, that's completely refundable. And that secures the vehicle so the vehicle doesn't get sold. Because remember, with the inventory situation today in the United States, sometimes that color combination, let's say we decided that we're getting you a Range Rover Sport. Let's say it's black with beige interior, with certain color, with certain options. So what happens here? There might be only one vehicle at that dealership. If it gets sold, we have to start the work all over and do a redundant work. We do not do, OC Auto Consultants does not do redundant work unless we recharge it. So it's very important that again, time is of essence. Either secure the vehicle on your credit card or try to make it to the dealership. If you don't go, within a few days and you don't pick the vehicle up, you're going to waste our fee. We're going to charge the fee either way. Remember, you could go on our website to see the fee, www.ocautoconsult.com. Under fees and policies, you could see our fee. And remember, this fee is not a contingency fee. This is a fee. It's not contingent upon you picking the vehicle up or not. Once we start the work, we do a professional job for you. We put in time and resources into it, and we'll charge the fee. So we expect you to go and pick the vehicle up. We're trying to build a professional relationship here. Professional relationship is different from the traditional seller and buyer or sales relationship. Sales relationship is, let's say you want to go buy shoes or you want to go buy a car. You could go to 10 different stores, 10 different dealerships, butt head with them, negotiate with them, do whatever you want. You could do window shopping. There's no expectation from either side, not from the buyer nor from the seller, for the sale to happen. A professional relationship is similar to, let's say, when you go to your tax accountant. He sits down, you make an appointment, he sits down, gathers some information from you, does a professional job, customizes that tax return to your needs. Once the professional job, whatever it takes, an hour and a half. First of all, there's no legal contract that says you have to sign that tax return and send it in right away. But whether you do or not, he's going to charge you the fee because he has done his job. His duty is over. And there's always that professional expectation and that professional courtesy that you will sign and send it in. There's no reason not to. You're trusting the professional to do a professional job for you. So we are the same way. Once we start the process, we put in time and resources. We do a very clean professional job. Just try us. It's very different from traditional processes. Just give it a shot. Try us. I ask you to. It's relatively innovative and new. So I ask you to please give it a shot. Okay. So. We have a couple of videos. I'm going to describe these videos for a few minutes, and then I'll ask for the videos to be shown. In the matters of safety, and remember, the main job of or main function of our OC Auto Consultants is that technical analysis, and safety is a huge part of our research. And one of the most severe crashes these days is called the pole test, where the vehicle, for whatever reason, you lose control. The driver loses control of the vehicle and at high speed runs into some kind of pole or a tree or pole, and it's a very, very severe crash, especially because it's from the side and there's not a lot of crush space on the side. The distance between that tree and the driver is a few inches basically. So the vehicle has to be designed, really engineered for this, because it's an extremely severe crash. And I'm going to show you two videos on two different vehicles, and you'll see what the difference in the crash protection and the passenger protection is. And please don't focus on the model, because these are older models and a lot of the safety on these vehicles have changed. So there's no, just focus on the difference, the differential in the performance in this crash. Please put the video on and I'll describe it, please. The first vehicle, as you see, this is a compact car, and just look at how severe this crash is. And if the vehicle is not designed right, there's the probability of a very, very severe damage, permanent damage, basically to the brain or to the spinal cord, or even losing, the driver might lose his or her life. It's that severe. It's very important that you purchase, again, the right vehicle and customize that safety to you for your driving experience, for your types of roads you drive on, and for your driving style. This is the first car, and this car does not do very well. The driver, there's a huge, this driver would definitely end up in the hospital without any question, but there is also a huge possibility of permanent damage. Just look at how severe this accident is. Now, this could be some kind of utility pole, or it could be a tree, and this could happen to anyone basically. Look at the driver in there, and it's a huge shock. This particular vehicle was not well designed for this. There's a significant difference in the safety performance from one vehicle to another. That's why I'm saying that a consultant like us, who are experts in this, we could help you choose the right vehicle for yourself or your loved ones. This is a great shot because it shows you from different angles, so you could see what happens when you lose control. This could happen on a slick road, rain-covered road, ice, snow. It's very important, especially for high-risk categories such as youngsters under age of 25 who don't have the driving experience, or elderly that don't have as much reaction time. Let's say age group over 65, for the vehicle to be well engineered. And now we're going to put the next video. Please put the next video where this vehicle protects the occupants much better. It gets a 5-star crash rating. If you would, please go ahead and put the video. And you could see it's the same exact speed, same exact crash, but this vehicle gets a 5-star where the other vehicle actually got only 3 stars, which is not a very good performance. I'm sorry, the first vehicle got only 2 stars. And here you could even see, if you pay attention to the dummy in there, the driver, you could see that the kinematics and the motion of the driver is less severe. It's all because of the design of the door systems and the pillars that support the roof. They make a huge difference. Engineering saves lives, basically, no question about that. As you notice, again, this is going to give you the different shots, so you could see that. And the time frame, basically, it's as you could see, it's everything happens in less than a second. Basically, it's basically in less than a second. It's a matter of life or death in some of these accidents. And choosing the right vehicle, you cannot put a price on it. It's priceless. Definitely contact us. We'll go over the risk category of whoever you're buying a vehicle for and the type of roads they drive, and we'll recommend the safest vehicle for you. No vehicle is bulletproof, but now that you have experts like our company, there's no excuse not to drive the safest vehicle on the road, especially, or should I say the safest for your budget. It's very important. Look at this driver here. It's, the whole motion is a lot less severe if you compare it to the previous vehicle that was crashed. It's controlled very well, and the protection in the doors and in the whole side structure of the vehicle is a lot better suited for this type of accident, which is the pole. Again, this could be a utility pole, telephone pole, anything. Very, very severe accident. And these vehicles, keep in mind, these vehicles are totaled. Insurance company is not going to fix these vehicles. You're going to end up in a new vehicle. But some of these vehicles, when they crush right and they get totaled, but they save your life. So very important to notice that. Okay. So one major topic that I want to talk about, all the potential ways in a vehicle, basically, when we look at the new processes that OC Auto Consultants offers and the new process of 21st century, all the potential ways that you could receive value for the dollar that you pay. Basically, it's not always discounts. It's basically like doing a value analysis. Value analysis is very important because most of the clients, 99% of the consumers, they concentrate on the price and they concentrate on the deal or the discount. No one concentrates on the value, and value is basically what you receive for the dollars that you pay. So in other words, value is a composite score of what the engineering, the safety, the features, the technology, the durability, the reliability. If you get a composite score for that, that's what you receive for the dollar that you pay. That is what value is. I'll give you an example. Let's say you want to buy a luxury car, 50 to 60. Let's assume a luxury sedan. Popular categories, four-door luxury sedans in the $50,000 to $60,000 range. And let's take your top three priorities. Let's say number one is safety, which pretty much always should be safety should always be number one. Then let's say fuel economy is number two, and let's say you do a lot of long distance driving, so the seat comfort, the support and the comfort of the seat is number three. Let's say these are your top three priorities. So the vehicle you have picked yourself as the client is, let's assume, a very popular vehicle, a $50,000 Lexus GS 350. Very popular car, excellent car, no question about it. So you call us and we evaluate your needs again and your priorities that we already mentioned, and we recommend the BMW 535i. This is just an example. Don't put too much focus on the models, because there might not be truth to what the numbers. I'm just trying to make an example here. And the reason we recommended the BMW 535 is that from a safety standpoint, whether it's prevention of crash or protection after crash, it's 15% safer. Let's say it's 10% better in fuel economy, and let's say the seats are 20% more comfortable for long distance. So we take a composite average of all those improvements over the GS350, and we come up with a number. For example, let's say from a technical standpoint, based on your priorities, the BMW 535i is 10% better than the Lexus GS350. So what does that mean? In a value, if you think about it from a value point of view or value perspective, what does that mean? That means that if both these vehicles, you look at the window sticker or the MSRP, and both of them say 50,000, because the BMW is 10% better for your priorities, you get 10% more value. In other words, 10% of the 50,000, you're $5,000 ahead just because you used us, and we recommended a substitute or equivalent product that's better from an engineering, safety, whatever your priorities standpoint. So if both vehicles are the same exact price, manufacturer suggested retail price, you're already ahead. So just think about this is a very fine point. Think about it. We haven't even gotten into discounts. We haven't gotten into special programs. None of that. It's just choosing the vehicle. Or let's flip the coin. Let's say the BMW 535i is exactly, from a technical standpoint, for your priorities, is equal to the GS350 that you had already picked. Let's say it's not 10% better. Let's say it's 0%. They're equal from a technical standpoint. But let's say the BMW, the window sticker is 50,000. Let's say the Lexus is 55,000. Here again, you're 5,000 ahead because the two vehicles are equal, but one of them is $5,000 more. So you could look at it both ways. So in this equation, there's only two variables. You got the product, which is the composite score of engineering and quality and all those things, and you got the price. And the price is the manufacturer's suggested retail price. That's the window sticker of the car, right? There's no, again, we're not talking about discounts. We're not talking about special programs. We're not talking about manufacturer incentives. This is just the price and the product. So this is called value analysis, and we have our software systems have the capability to do the value analysis for you. Again, in the equation, you have product and you got price. What do you get for the dollar that you pay? So that's evaluating the value of the product. You could is a big part of receiving value for your money. Big part of it's a huge part of the financial analysis. The second part of the financial analysis is, we mentioned this before, method of transaction. Sometimes, again, we are not even talking about incentives. We're not talking about discounts. We're talking about just the method of transaction can make a huge difference in you receiving value or you getting ahead financially. I'll give you an example. I had a client, they wanted to lease a Mercedes S550 a few months back. $100,000, ultra luxury sedan. This is the top of the line of Mercedes, right? At the time, Mercedes was offering a lease special of $1,500 per month for 36 months with zero down. We put that into our lease analyzer software for that particular vehicle, and the lease analyzer software came back and said this lease is not very good. It's not very competitive. Remember, we talk about lease so much. There's a lot of benefits to the lease, or to the process of leasing. There are so many benefits, but they don't make sense on every single car. It depends on the vehicle. In this case, when we put that $1,500 lease into our analyzer software, it came back and said it's not a very competitive lease. It's a below average lease. So we said, okay, this is our job. We got to give this client alternative financial ways so that we could put them ahead financially. Yeah, it's easy. We could call that Mercedes dealership and get a discount. That's easy. But let's use our financial tools that we have that we have access to, and we have in our hands basically, and to see if we could add value to this client or put them ahead financially. So what did we do? We looked at different alternatives. One of the alternatives was a certified pre-owned 4-year-old car with roughly 50,000 miles. And at the time, this $100,000 brand new Mercedes had depreciated down to a certified pre-owned one, 4-year-old one was only $45,000. And $45,000, now remember, you also, on that vehicle, you also get a 1-year extended warranty plus 50,000 miles because the vehicle has got that seal of certification. At the time, Mercedes was offering 1.9%, and remember, sometimes they offer low-interest financing on certified pre-owned cars. And what happened? We calculated that, and it came to $1,000 per month. times 48 months. And on a used car, you don't really want to extend the financing more than 4 years because you already have a 4-year-old car in your hand, and you don't want to be making payments on a 10-year-old car. So 4-year financing at maximum term should be 4 years. That's reasonable, because you had at the end of 4 years you have an 8-year-old car with roughly 100,000 miles on your hands. And that car is still worth money, though. You could still get $15,000, $16,000 for an 8-year-old Mercedes with 100,000 miles. It's still worth money. So in this case, the certified pre-owned monthly payment with zero down was $1,000. Brand new lease was $1,500. In this case, it did make sense to move into a certified pre-owned. It's not always the case. It's a significant differentiation or difference in that price. You save about $500 a month. That's a huge savings. So in this case, if you're locked into that Mercedes, you have to have the S550, and you're not flexible. In this case, it made sense to go with that certified pre-owned 4-year. However, we also looked at another alternative. We looked at the competitors, direct competitors, to see if any of the direct competitors offer more value. At the time, we looked at the Lexus LS460, which is an $80,000 4-door sedan, ultra luxury again, direct competitor to Mercedes S-Class, and Lexus was offering $900 per month with zero down. We also looked at the Audi A8, which is $85,000 luxury sedan, and Audi was offering $800 per month with zero down. So look at this. We have an $85,000 Audi A8 that is $800 per month on a lease, and then you go to a $100,000 Mercedes S550, which is roughly 15% more expensive, but the lease goes from $800 to $1,500. It's like 80% more. So leases, keep in mind, we have discussed this before. Leases do not increase linearly, and they're not proportional. So don't look at the window sticker and say you can't afford it, because it might be an amazing lease special that you might be able to afford. So in this case, you looked at the competitor, Audi A8, excellent, well-engineered vehicle, top-notch quality, top of the line from Audi, and it's a no-brainer. Okay, $800 per month on a brand new vehicle lease, or you could go buy that Mercedes CPO certified pre-owned for $1,000 per month. It's a no-brainer decision. You don't have to be a brain surgeon to decide between those. Of course, you go get the new car because that special is so good on that Audi. So another way to get ahead is the method of transaction. Sometimes certified pre-owned, sometimes leasing and purchasing at lease end, sometimes leasing and returning the vehicle. The method of transaction can put you ahead financially. Gives you value for your dollar. Specials. Specials, we have discussed that before. Rebates. I'm talking about the manufacturer specials, the incentives. Rebates, marketing support, which is the money that goes into the dealers for the manufacturer. Low interest financing, lease specials. Lease specials are very, very important. We have to monitor those because sometimes they change weekly, sometimes they change monthly. It's like the stock market. Has to be monitored. But sometimes, like what in this case, you looked at the Mercedes and then you looked at the direct competitor, there's $700 difference. But a lot of times you also see, let's say $50 to $100 difference between equivalent competitive cars that are technically in the same category. Let's say two $50,000 luxury sedans. Sometimes you see the lease on one is $100 cheaper. $100 adds up. $100 times 36 months on the term of a lease is $3,600. So you have given us $800 for our fee, and we put you ahead $3,600. But it requires that flexibility. In other words, you have to remove all the preconceived notions about the brand and all your biases toward the brand, which does nothing for you. If you're biased toward Mercedes, you're biased toward BMW, you're biased toward Ferrari, you're biased toward Toyota, it does nothing for you. It's always go for the best engineered vehicle, the highest quality, and the best value for your money. That's the way you get ahead financially. That is the way we do it in the 21st century. In the past, we have had our biases. Hey, I have to have a Nissan. I have to have a Porsche. I have to have a Range Rover. Does nothing for you but economic loss, basically. Basically, all it does is it damages your pocketbook, basically. So, like I said, lease specials, vehicles in the same category. Sometimes you see a differential of anywhere between $50 to $150, or in drastic cases like the Mercedes and the Audi, you see a $700 difference. But they add up. Most of the time, the savings are anywhere between $2,000 all the way up to $10,000. So it's very important to use those to pick the vehicle. That flexibility, don't forget the flexibility part. Instead of just picking a vehicle, selecting the vehicle, and then going after the specials. So, again, lease is not proportional. It's very important. It's not linear. Here, you have to understand that you could take, let's say, a fully loaded Toyota Camry with everything: leather, navigation, seat heaters, camera system, everything, $32,000, and it could be $500 per month on a lease. Or you could go into a luxury sedan like an Infiniti Q50 at $40,000, which is $8,000 more, but the lease could be $450. It's not linear. In other words, a more expensive car sometimes lease for less because it's a financial manipulator. It's not straightforward math. What the bank is doing is predicting the resale value, and based on that resale value, it's charging you. So that prediction is a risk that they're taking, and that risk, plays around with the math in there. It's not direct math. So be very careful with that. Just don't look at the window sticker, oh, I cannot afford that luxury car. Guess what? That luxury car could be cheaper than your everyday Toyota Camry or Honda Accord. So we'll do all that for you. We'll give you alternatives, better cars for less lease payments. Okay. Again, the factory specials or the manufacturer incentives, another potential method of receiving dollars or receiving value. The next method is the overall economic analysis, that looking at the economics of supply, demand, and inventory. The fundamental laws of economics, basically. And when it comes to those, we have to monitor the economics of every car, basically the supply, demand, and inventory. Sometimes we look at nationally, all 50 states, sometimes regionally. For example, they say, let's say the Southwest, which is Arizona, Nevada, and California. And sometimes locally, like in Southern California. And see what the inventories look like. I'll give you an example. Let's say, in Southern California, there's an unusually high inventory of BMW 3 Series convertible. It could happen at certain time for whatever reason. Maybe it was a rainy season. Maybe people were not buying convertibles. Knowing that, that when there is high inventory and low demand, economics tells you that there is potential for savings, or in other words, prices drop. So there's a potential for dealer discounts. Dealers have more incentive to move them when they have more of them. So all of that have to be studied. So, actually think about it, in the case of that Mercedes S550 lease that I said $15. Let's assume that you were already leasing that. Let's say you didn't come to us and you went and decided to lease that. If we had a professional relationship, if we are your family automobile consultant, just like you have your family doctor, just like you're in communication with your accountant, just like you're in communication with your attorney, if we're in constant communication with you, at any given time, I could call you and say, Mr. So-and-so, there is an excellent special on, let's say, a competitor of your vehicle, on an Audi A8. Why don't you come over, trade that Mercedes in, and get the Audi, if you're in constant communication. This is the ultimate goal of this company, is to have that personal relationship so we could put you ahead financially. This is how investment planners and investors do it. Investors are always in the market, in other words. So car buyers and car leasers have always need to be in the market too. At any given time, remember, you have no obligation. If you're leasing, you don't have to wait until the lease is up. If you're financing, you don't have to wait until the finance is up. At any given time, you could sell your vehicle or you could trade it in. We evaluate, we do the financial analysis to see if it makes sense to get rid of your car and go into a better car with lower payments. In the case of the Mercedes, let's say for example, you're paying $1,500 per month. and let's say 6 months into the lease, it's a 36-month lease, but you're 6 months into the lease. And here I do a calculation and I say, okay, well, if you trade it in, you have to trade it in and you have to come up with $4,000 in cash. In other words, you're upside down $4,000 because you're getting rid of the car before the lease is up. You look at that $4,000, then you look at the savings that you get from the alternative, from the Audi. You're saving $700 per month if you go with the Audi. So that $4,000, you're going to recover that in what? In less than 6 months, you're going to recover that. And the rest of the time, after the first 6 months, is to recover that $4,000 that you had to come up from your pocket. And then after that, guess what? It's all positive cash flow into your pocket. So when people say, oh, if I end this lease right now early, it's a loss to me. Loss is just the relative term. It's not an absolute term. What does that mean, loss? How about if I put you into a car that's got much lower payments? Then it's not a loss anymore. So it's just that loss is a relative term. You might have to come up with some kind of money because sometimes you're upside down. But also remember, depending on at what point you are in the lease, sometimes you have positive equity in the car. You could trade it in and get some cash back. We'll do all that analysis for you. But remember, just because you're locked into a contract doesn't mean that you cannot end it at any time you want. We'll find a buyer for your car or we'll trade it in. And if it makes sense, if the next lease, the next contract makes sense, sometimes you get ahead financially $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 if you make the move. So it's not a set thing where you say every 3 years I'm ready for a car. And then consider that for yourself, for your wife, for your kids, for your parents, whoever you're leasing cars for or you're purchasing cars for. And if you're in direct communication, we could always put you ahead. This is what investment planners do for you. At any time there's an opportunity, they pick up the phone, they call the investor and say, hey, I got this deal for you. Take advantage of it right now because it's going to put you ahead. It's not like, oh, the investor says, hey, call me every 3 years. That doesn't happen. So this issue of monitoring the economics, the inventory of cars, if we see a car that has got high inventory and we know there is potential for savings, I could pick up the phone and call my clients. Even if they're already leasing a car, they could get rid of that car. Getting rid of a car is not like getting rid of a house. You don't have to move. You don't have to pack. You don't have to, change your children's school. It's a piece of cake. It's just signing a piece of paper. So it's as easy as that. So don't think you're tied into this contract that you cannot get out of. Sometimes it makes sense to get out, depending on what kind of specials I could find you. So keep that in mind. So that's another economic analysis, monitoring the inventory and analyzing the inventory supply and demand. Another way to get ahead financially, to add value to your dollar. Choosing the right dealership is very important. Like I mentioned to you, some dealerships work on high volume, and those dealerships, there's a lot more potential to get a discount from them. Why? Because they make less per vehicle, but remember these dealerships also get volume bonuses from the manufacturer. So at the end of the year, if they sell 1,000 BMWs or 1,000 Mercedes or 5,000 Toyotas, manufacturer sends them a big check of $50,000. I'm sorry, not $50,000, more like $1.5 million check at year end, depending on their volume, purely on their volume, on how many vehicles they sold the year before. So you might get a fat $2 million check, even though at the beginning they start making less per vehicle just to move the volume. So there's always volume bonuses, and everyone who's in the industry knows what I'm talking about. There are volume bonuses from the manufacturer. So you want to deal with those dealerships, and also remember the dealership inventory. If you're here, you want a BMW X5, and let's say you want white with beige interior, and that particular dealer has got 10 of them, he's got a lot more incentive to give you a big discount, as opposed to only one. If they have one, they might not discount as much. But if they have 10 of the same exact car, same color, same options, it all becomes, again, the laws of economics, supply, demand, and inventory. So analyzing dealership inventory is very important. We do that on a continual basis. Salesperson in a dealership makes a difference. Remember, we deal with only the sales managers, because these sales managers also work on the volume business model. They don't make commission on each car, but if they sell it, the dealership says, okay, if you sell 30 cars this month, that one sales manager, I'm going to give you a check for $15,000. So they concentrate on moving cars as opposed to making profit, because their commission doesn't depend on a profit per car, but it depends on the number of units. So we only deal with those because we don't want a salesperson whose commission is a percentage of the profit. Who wants that? Of course, they try to sell the vehicle at higher price, so they make more profit, so they make more commission. That doesn't. We don't deal with that. So it's not just the dealership that we deal with. The person in the dealership makes a difference in adding value to your dollar and putting you ahead financially. And of course, the last part is the discount, the special discount they give us. Remember, when I call the dealership, let's say I call my Mercedes contact in San Diego, or I call my Volkswagen contact in such and such town in New Jersey. They don't look at me as one customer, because I send anywhere between 20 to 50 clients per year to these dealerships. So they do give me some special deals just because it's OC Auto Consultants. I'm not one customer. So again, adding value. What I did was I went through one by one all the potential ways of saving and all the potential ways of acquiring value. Value acquisition is the name of the game. Acquiring value for the dollar that you're spending. So there's so many potential ways. It's not just going into the dealership and negotiating and butting heads. That was the old way. We've been there, done that already. It's over with. These days, everything is professional and everything is specialized. I just described to you step by step all the ways to potentially save. Don't forget the website, www.ocautoConsult.com. Save it. Save the link. Email it to your friends, family, and acquaintances. And you might have some questions from the website, or if you have any questions from the material I went over, I talked really fast. I apologize about that. Definitely call me, 949-677-3835. Again, I'm Shahram Surudi. I'm the senior analyst at OC Auto Consultants. And I want to thank you for taking your time and listening to this program. Take care.